So, hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Partner Champion Spotlight Series. Today, I got with me Alex Cole from Kubrick, a Databricks partner. Hello, Alex.
Hi, good to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for doing the series with us. Looking forward to an interesting conversation, right? But to get things started, why don't you just introduce yourself, say who you are and what your role is at Kubrick.
yeah. Hi, my name's Alex Cole. I'm principal architect at Kubrick Group, working in the Databricks area. So I work on customer projects. I work on sort of aligning projects before they start, and I sort of also work within the Databricks community we have here, internal community, sort of sharing best practices and kind of keeping up to date with updates, doing getting people connected and sort of talking and thinking about Databricks a bit more. And then I also do some RSA work for Databricks as well, which is really interesting.
Okay. And RSA is a resident solution architect where you do more deeper dive hands-on work on behalf of Databricks. Okay, fantastic. Cool. And then just briefly again, Kubrick, right? Kubrick Group, right? It's obviously one of our partners in the UK. But how does Kubrick work with clients? Is it like consulting or just again briefly, just so we learn more about Kubrick Group?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kubrick Group, I think, kind of came from a background of hiring and training graduates and deploying them to companies with the option for them to keep them on. But as they've sort of matured and grown as an organization, they also do sort of more traditional consulting with sort of solution delivery. But I think there's the two halves sometimes work well together in so much that you can deliver a solution and then the team can stay with the solution, keep it operational, keep it working, and see it through like that.
Amazing. And I can put it on the record that the Kubrick Group is definitely one of my top partners in the UK, top RSI partners. So well done for all the work that you guys do. Um, but then you yourself, Alex, right? You're also a Databricks partner champion. Um, so for people watching this, right? I mean, what does that mean? Like to you being a partner champion, what does it mean? And I don't know, does it change your job or your role or the expectations? Like, just help people understand what being a champion represents, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of the continuation and solidification of the experience and the sort of training that happened, and it sort of takes it to a slightly different level. So with data engineering or other types of engineering, it's very easy to always look for a technical solution. And as I've seen more projects and larger projects, sometimes the solution is on the border of the technical. So being a champion sort of means that you can talk to the strong points of a technology, means that you can kind of align that with the customer before some of the engineering work even starts. So that's the whole sort of solution architect sort of angle on the champion part.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Now just looking again, coming a little bit more deep dive now on yourself, right? You are a Databricks uh, champion, and obviously being a Databricks champion involves at least some investment, right, in terms of enablement and understanding the product and so on. In the data platform or the data and AI space, there are different options, right? Not just Databricks. Some people might look at the hyperscalers and so on and so forth in terms of vendors or providers. I just want to see what drew you to Databricks. And again, you might be a champion elsewhere, which is also fine, but I just want to see what drew you to sort of specialize in Databricks as a product or as a technology.
Yeah, so I was lucky to start hearing about it sort of almost 10 years ago now.
Mhm.
And the more I learned, the more I realized it solved so many of the challenges I'd faced, kind of getting experience from being a junior through to mid-level. So when I started, I was writing Python, I was writing R, I was writing a lot of SQL. And at the time, I used to have to go and speak to the head of IT to get him to install every single pip package for Python to do some analysis. So, when you're writing some analysis scripting, you're going to find new packages that help you with the task at hand. So it was just such a clunky and difficult experience at the time. And then with data access as well, that was sometimes awkward. And the platform brings all of those things together and makes it so simple. If if I'd had this platform back when I was starting, I could have solved all sorts of problems and created all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah.
So for me, that kind of really made the capability slightly more personal, and also it kind of made me want to sort of be a champion of that. Help the people that were in my situation, that they're here now trying to do the same sorts of things, but they've got the clear runway to do that. It's kind of keeping the runway clear for them to take off and do all those things. But that's kind of a big part of it for me.
Yeah. Okay, great. And also, but when I look at your profile, right, or, your LinkedIn, or when I Google you, right, I see that like you have so many technical certifications. I don't know if I saw the wrong number, but it was looking like more than 20. So I don't know, like in terms of technical enablement, obviously this 20 is not just Databricks, it's like across the space, right? Is that like what do you think about certifications? Is it something that you think is important to be able to, I don't know, keep up with the industry, or is it like a personal badge of honor? I don't know. I just thought, wow, that's amazing.
I think it depends on your personal objectives and what you're trying to achieve, and what you are. So for me, I think certifications can be quite important because they can align terminology and techniques across your team. If you've all got similar certs, you're going to be speaking the same language. Another one for me, sometimes it will fill in the gaps where you don't have experience, or there's certain parts of the technology which you wouldn't normally gravitate to. It sort of forces you to learn those things. So
Yeah.
it kind of rounds you out a bit as well. For
Hmm.
me, as an architect, I need to know and speak for technologies across quite a broad space. So getting these certifications is kind of a way of kind of making sure I'm speaking the truth when it comes to things that perhaps I haven't had a chance to be quite so hands-on with, but are all part of the overall solution.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And just bringing it back to being a champion. At Databricks, I mean, at least from my perspective, for us as Databricks, for us, the champions are the leaders, right? The people who are at the highest level in terms of Databricks technical expertise, people that we trust that when they are on a customer implementation, that the customer is in good hands. So therefore, in order to make it to become a champion, it is quite a steep, there's a lot of things that you need to take in order to make it there. But from your experience of becoming a champion, then what would you say are the things that people, again, people who might want to become a champion one day, but is it the certifications? Is it the hands-on experience? Like, what would be your advice to people who want to become a champion one day? How should they be thinking about that journey, right? Should they start with certifications or start with customer projects or something else? What are your thoughts?
I think it's probably all of those things kind of working together. So I think that to be a champion probably requires a certain amount of experience and maturity in the space. And how you get that is through customer projects, it's through doing certifications, it's through being part of a community and talking to more people working in your space, kind of
Yeah.
getting that flow of ideas back and forth,
Mhm.
and sort of mapping it against your experience. So I think it's sort of being very active in the space across projects, certs, and kind of the community stuff at your organization as well. That's
Okay.
certainly what worked for me.
Yeah, that's what worked for you. Okay, so a little bit of everything, right? Or at least a little bit of both. Okay.
Well, I think, yeah, if you're part of a partner organization, you'll be amongst teams of people similar to you, and you can kind of work out where your strengths, where your weaknesses are. If you have a particular skill within the group that you can bring, and you rely on other people for other things,
Yeah.
or if you need to be more well-rounded, you've got comparison points. So sort of having a community in the partner system is really useful for a lot of those things, working those sorts of things out.
Okay. Great stuff. Thank you. Um, Now, again, we can talk about things from a Kubrick perspective or just sort of general, right? I just want to understand, like when customers come to you, and we don't need to mention any names, for confidentiality, but when customers come to you, to solve a problem using the Databricks platform, like what sort of problems do they have, for them to come to you in the first place? Like, I just want to understand what sort of solutions you're putting together for customers using the Databricks platform.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think every customer tends to have quite unique challenges, and they're at various stages of their journey. So maybe they don't have any analytics. Maybe they need to migrate from a legacy system. Maybe they've got very mature system and they just need help in maturing some of the capability or bringing in new features. Perhaps they've been on Databricks for a long time and want to upgrade to Unity Catalog. There's a whole sort of range of sort of things in the space. I mean, Databricks is a whole platform in itself, so it has many capabilities, and you can tune those to the sort of organizational requirements that you might have. I think I'm seeing a lot of at the moment. Some of the patterns probably are things like a lot of people are interested in moving away from things like Azure Data Factory, using some of the native capabilities in Databricks to ingest data.
Mhm.
So things like Lakeflow Connect makes it a lot easier. Also, I think for me that's nice for the teams because they're only really working within one application. They don't have to jump outside to Data Factory anymore.
Yeah.
And it has some of the things that sort of give you things for free. It's sort of a lot of the engineering challenges you might have had are sort of built into the platform, and you sort of can piggyback off that and deliver more quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. And if you look across the projects that you've been involved in, on Databricks or even elsewhere, are there certain patterns or lessons, that you've learned or you've seen where, if you want to increase the chances of this project being
Mm-hmm.
successful, what are certain things that you need to take into account or, bring into the plan, et cetera, to make sure things go smoothly or to make sure, yeah, the chances that things go well are maximized.
Yeah, I think a lot of the challenges are kind of a lot of human level challenges, right? It's about kind of ensuring you're communicating effectively. You've got strong
Mhm.
alignment on the objectives.
Yeah,
You created a space for the teams to be productive in,
yeah,
so they can do their work well and be happy doing that work and not distracted by external factors. I think that always helps. Uh, I think sometimes there's risk of over engineering solutions.
yeah.
Sometimes people are so excited about new features that they want to use the new features, which is good in some ways because it builds experience in a space and you test where they're good and where they're bad. But
Mhm.
sometimes they're distracted by the new features and you can just rely on the core fundamentals to deliver a good solution.
Okay. And I guess the flip side of that question is, I guess you just sort of answered it in a way, right? Is then, what are the like no-nos or what are the things you want to avoid? But I guess from what you said, it's like the opposite, the opposite of what you just said. Not communicating, I guess, or is there anything you want to call out specifically, like, these are red flags, like don't do that. Um, for example, things like governance, for example, is that something that you take into account right from the start? Some people might think of it as an afterthought and then that causes problems. Just I guess, yeah, anything
I,
else that comes to mind?
you probably you have to I suppose meet the customer where they are. You have to understand what their next step is, what sort of things they can operate and run with, where their skills are, what they're trying to achieve, and yeah, what's achievable. Like there's such a range of sort of technical skills and approaches you can use. You got to kind of getting it aligned is probably a key for success, really.
Okay. Um, Bringing it back now to the partnership stuff. Yeah, I said earlier that Kubrick is one of our I'll say top partners, RSI partners, at least
I think
looking at the UK market.
gold tier in the UK, as I understand. Is that the right term?
Yeah, yeah. Um, but there are also there are partners who come into the ecosystem, maybe new partners or partners that have been successful elsewhere and trying to have a Databricks practice. Um, I don't know if you have a perspective or point of view on sort of building a Databricks practice
Hmm.
and what some of these other organizations or what you think is important, right, as a partner of Databricks to be doing or to be investing in order to move up the ranks or stay at the top of the ranks. Any advice there?
I think part of it again, probably client focus. Build a good track record of client delivery.
Hmm.
Certainly worked for Kubrick,
Hmm.
and then also sort of get your teams, give them space to and time to upskill. Do some community events so they can share ideas and sort of learn from each other. Sort of really think about the people in your teams and what will help them be successful. So altogether, you build success as a group.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, from where I sit, I've been able to, obviously work with different partners and look at different business models from different partners, right? I think in the old days, there were partners who, um, I mean, the consulting model is like people, a consulting company will bill for a certain number of hours and get paid by the customer based on that. But in this day of sort
Mm.
of AI and agentic, right, I'm seeing certain changes in the industry now where like a certain partner is like doubling down on a specific platform or investing more and building these accelerator solutions or like solutions specifically for the platform rather than trying to go out broader. I don't know if you have any perspective or point of view, on your experience, right? Again, in this age of AI, do you see anything different with how you do your work? I don't know. Again, in the past, like there's certain people who maybe in the past they would have put maybe 10 engineers in
Mm.
the project, but now it might be two engineers and two agents. I don't know if that's again anything that you're saying, but it's something that I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a shift. So maybe not specifically to Kubrick, but from your own, I don't know, perspective, do you see this agentic era having an impact on how you work with customers? Or...
I think it's an area. We're at a time of massive change. Like certain things can just run so fast now, and I think probably there's a lot of learning going on. We haven't settled on what how that looks, and there's maybe some things stay the same and some things are very different, and
Yeah,
there's all the range of things in between. I
absolutely.
think yeah, lots changed. We're working it out. I think probably more things are accessible, possibly. So the things that you would like to have done now you can do because you can do them faster. I think that's really exciting.
Mhm.
I think Databricks in this space is really interesting because it's such a broad platform with so many capabilities that facilitate a lot of these sort of interactions, like all the data intelligence. So you could imagine it sitting alongside. You might have Claude Copilot, and then you might have Databricks Genie. One you do your PowerPoints in, and the other one you get all your intelligence and data answers from within your organization. So
Yeah.
it feels though as though yeah, those end users could now be users more than they were before, not just dashboard readers and data engineers. You could have people in the wider business using Databricks Genie now,
Yeah.
and I think that's really interesting. So I think there's going to be a slight shift in probably some of the tasks that you need to do. I think fundamentals will probably always be true. You do those things well, but maybe you just do them quicker now, and the patterns emerge to enable that. And you've
Yeah.
got agents to help you as well. So yeah, it'd be really interesting, like listening to this in a year's time and seeing what I think about this answer because all I know is things are changing very fast. It's very exciting. You can try all sorts of things out, and
Yeah.
some things are possible that weren't before. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, even in my own role, I know now there are agents helping me out with quite a bit of what I used to do manually last year. So things are changing. In fact, not just last year, like at the start of the year. So things are, yeah, changing really fast. Um, I was having a chat with another champion, and I was asking them how they keep up to speed with Databricks because things change really fast, right? New features and so on and so forth. And he was like, one of the ways he keeps up to speed is that there's a website or something called the Databricks Release Hub that was set up by a champion called Alex Cole. I said, oh, I'm going to ask Alex in our interview. So what is this Databricks Release Hub? Like, just yeah, how did you come up about it? What's the purpose? How do you keep
Yeah.
up to date? Yeah.
So I had a problem, and I figured it probably wasn't just my problem. That was just trying to keep up with the rate of releases, all the information coming through to you so fast.
Mm,
You blink and you miss it. So I just wanted to make that easier for myself. So it's all about bringing it all together and then sharing it in such a way that makes it easier. So I've used I think Databricks publish feed XML for each of the hyperscalers with all the releases. So that
mhm.
was like the core piece. I think they released that early last year, and that kind of made this possible. So it's about bringing all the data together and then kind of contextualizing it. There's a lot of good blog posts on the Databricks website, and you don't always want to read documentation. So I'm trying to do some matching to the relevant blogs, so you can kind of read in a bit more natural language outside of the documentation about some of these capabilities, these new capabilities. And as a result, I sort of just ended up adding more and more features around runtimes, about regions, doing a Kanban board of whether things are in beta or private preview or public preview, tracking the
Yeah,
releases, the cadence over time. All this data sort of fed all these different sort of use cases that are kind of useful in how can you keep up. So I've
yeah,
made it into a web app, and you can subscribe to notifications. So every time there's a new release on the feed, you will get a native notification on your computer or mobile. That's quite good. It has its own XML feed now as well, so you can embed that in Teams or in Slack, which I think is a really good sort of community move, because you can have people in the same group in Teams or on Slack. And that means when there's a release that's very interesting to you, you could start a chat right there and there. You can discuss the new feature. Your mates will see, your teammates will come and see what you're talking about. Maybe they've got a view on it, and you can have a discussion as these things come through. And it just kind of makes the whole release and keeping up with things a little bit more fun, a little bit more of a team sport. And yeah, it
yeah,
made it easier for me as well. So I sort of built this and thought it'd be a good thing to share. And it's led me to some interesting conversations, and
yeah.
it certainly helped out my profile, I guess.
Yeah, thanks for that because yeah, I've spoken to other people, as I say, who are benefiting from it, and it helps to make life easier for people adopting Databricks, right? So yeah, we appreciate that. Thank
It's
you.
good to hear. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you put something on the internet, sometimes you have no idea what it means to people. You can see it's being used, but you don't know how useful. So it's fantastic to have some nice feedback.
But do you also not that you have to, but do you also like contribute to like Apache Spark or that stuff or I don't know if I saw something about all
Yep.
that
So
contribution or
I
not.
can tell you, yeah. So when Unity Catalog was open sourced,
Hmm.
I was able to make a few contributions there
Okay.
on the initial open source version
Oh,
of that,
Unity
which is
Catalog.
really
Okay.
interesting. Yeah. So some super smart engineers working on that for Databricks,
Mhm.
and I was able to just do my little bit of helping out there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Um, so I'm going to sort of start rounding up now. And I'll just ask you like, what I call quick fire questions. I don't know why I call it quick fire questions.
Right.
So maybe I thought people will answer it quickly with one word, but you don't have to answer it in one word. You can give as much detail as you want. But the first thing I wanted to just check right now is, out of all the new features that have come out or that you've heard are coming out in Databricks. I don't know, is there one that like you're most excited about as a feature?
Uh, well, yeah, probably lots. I think lake
Lots.
base super interesting. I think it enables lots of other exciting things in itself, and I think there's some really interesting patterns that can be used, which are sort of kind of emerging things you can do with some testing or some agent stuff as well. I think that's
Yeah,
going to be interesting seeing how people get creative in different ways of using that, certainly. And then I think, like, I don't know, Databricks Genie, amazing, because you're bringing all this data to people who perhaps might not have had access or interest in accessing it before. So it's really yeah, it's really leveling, bringing people in, which is, yeah, that's quite an important thing, right? It's not all
yeah,
about technical people all the time. It's enabling people and sort of bringing the right things to the right people. So
Amazing, amazing.
yeah.
Lake-based and Genie. Those are two features or products at Databricks that are also big focus areas for us as well as a company. So glad to see that you're excited about both of them. Um, is there a feature in Databricks that you think I don't know might be the like underrated? Like maybe it
Right.
has a lot of potential or a lot of power, but maybe it's not as popular as others, or um,
Yeah, a super good question. I think for me, it probably depends on like the sort of customer and customer alignment. I
mhm,
think uh, I think there's a lot of people who only ever build in the UI, and I don't think that always has to be the option. You can build with code editing tools offline with DB Connect and Spark Connect and all these types of tools. I think
okay.
that's possibly for some people could be a real game changer.
Yeah,
Particularly like with some of the agent stuff and scaling, working locally like that. Uh,
okay.
Other features,
No,
I
I
think
just
I
one is
think
fine.
yeah, I think some of the AI stuff and sort of like labeling columns and adding metadata, I think is probably like a nice way of speeding a lot of work up for people. I think that's a good one.
That's a good one. Okay, thank you. If there was one resource, again for people who wanted to think about people who are just sort of starting out at Databricks and they want to get up to speed quickly, like what if there was one resource that you say, okay, go to that resource and use that to learn more about Databricks, which one would you say?
Well, there's one that I made myself for this use
Yeah.
case, which is Spark Cones. So
How
it's
is
it's
it?
a it's another website that I built, and it's
What's it
like
called?
it's called Spark Cones.
Okay,
So
Spark
cones
Code.
is like a deliberate practice technique that's been around for quite a while. I think it originated in Buddhism, but I think 15 or more years ago, it was very popular in the Ruby and Scala communities. And I
Nice.
realized there wasn't really one for Spark. So I built this site. It's sort of code snippets, and you fill in the gaps. And then
Okay.
if it passes the test, then you've completed that one, and you work through all of them, and you can kind of rinse and repeat, so you get really familiar with these. So this is about typing. It's actually typing the code. You don't have to set anything up because it's in your browser. You type the code, fill in the gaps, and there's hints and there's solutions that help you, and you can rinse and repeat and kind of just get feeling natural with this. And I think why this is a good sort of starting resource is that this is the fundamentals. These are the core actions that as a user, as a data engineer, you can do on Databricks.
Yeah.
So even if you're getting help with Genie or other agents,
Yeah.
if you know your way around what features, what functions are there to be used, you'll be able to sort of verify those answers better. You'll be able to have a look and debug things faster because you've had your hands on the fundamentals. So for me, this is it's been it's been quite popular, and it's been a lot of fun making it and doing it. And I think it's a really nice sort of first step where you don't have to install or set anything up or sign up for anything, and you can get started and kind of work out the sorts of things you can start doing with Databricks.
Okay. Spark cones.
Spark
Okay.
cones, yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. So final question then. And again, this brings it back to, this is a time of change. AI is disrupting every industry in terms of how people work and so on and so forth. And this disruption will, yeah, ultimately change the dynamics of, different types of industries, etc. But if you look at the Databricks ecosystem with partners, for example, like how would you say, actually, maybe not just partners, even customers as well, what are the sort of, if you had any advice or if you had anything to say around how someone should be positioning themselves at this time of change, I don't know, in order to, I don't know, to get the most or maximize whatever comes out of this transitionary period, like how should they be positioning themselves or how are you thinking about it?
Oh wow, yeah, tough question. I think if you engage deeply and you're honest with yourself about what you're trying to achieve and how well you're doing and what you need to learn, I think, and you're building things, I think you're going to be all right. Like I think deep engagement leads to some really good experience. And I think experience will count for a lot. If things are running automatically and at speed with agents, good experience will kind of just nudge it in the right direction, right? You'll be able to smell when things aren't right, aren't working well, or done the wrong way. So you know there's still very much a role for bringing all that stuff in. And I feel like potentially you read a lot about this. We could be busier than ever. More and more people want more stuff done with data, and their
Yeah,
expectations are higher. So yeah, I think it's a good time to get experience. And things are changing so fast that you don't necessarily, you can build experience with how things are right now.
amazing, amazing. One more question that I have. Okay, so I noticed that you publish a blog. Can you just tell us about what that blog is about?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I was working at a large organization, and I was helping a lot of people get certified. And I realized there's a lot of patterns of similar questions, and I started to sort of build up this knowledge. And then I started publishing a few blog posts on resources to support your learning with Databricks certifications. And then I was at a Christmas party. I'm a remote person, so I don't normally see a lot of people. And so many people were just so grateful that I'd published this stuff. And as a result, I just kind of lent into it and started doing more and more of it. And it's become, I try and call it the most comprehensive guide to Databricks certs on the internet, where every single exam objective will have a link to documentation, might have a link to a demo, might have a link to a video. So you can kind of choose and match the resource that matches your learning style. You could just fill in a little gap if something's missing, or you could watch videos, you could do hands-on practice, read documentation, whatever works for you. All the resources are there. So yeah, I've got one or two more to publish, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been well received, and yeah,
And what's the best way to access it?
that's on my blog site, which is alexcole.net.
alexcole.net.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. So actually, just to follow up, so are you definitely recommending for people starting spark cones, and then for this one, your blog, is that more for practitioners who have a little bit more experience? I'm just asking because
Yeah. So so the blog's really good at the moment. My focus has been on the Databricks certifications. So if you're renewing, or you're looking into which one might be good for you, or you just want to find other resources, that's the place to go for that. I think I wrote a guide about sort of how I tackled certs, because I've done a few, and I sort of wrote down some things I like to do, which is on there as well, which you might find useful.
okay, okay, amazing. Thanks so much. And yeah, thanks for putting all those resources together because yeah, a lot of people out there will find it beneficial, and again, it helps us as Databricks, right? When our partners are doing this for us. So thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Yeah, been good to talk. Thank you.
Cheers.